All right, hi everyone joining the live stream. We are looking at some remaining features for version 13, and this is hopefully going to be just picking up some loose ends here. So please start off.
Graphics tour video is what we want to hit today.
Oh,
that's dedicated to that.
Really? Are we really going to get this for this version? And we have Jeremy here.
I'm not sure. But okay. I think we want to spend some time.
Let's give it a try.
Yeah.
Okay. Where do I go to see it?
Pick the reference page, graphics tour video sources.
Why don't we put this in just as a function repository thing for now? I just don't think it's going to be cooked. But let's take a look.
I don't think so either, because I think it requires actual uses before it.
I agree. So let's put it in the function repository.
But let's spend some time discussing. I still want to get sort of warmed up. Jeremy is here. Carlo is here. Let's spend a little bit of time discussing what the issues are. What's good, what's bad. Okay.
Okay. All right, so let me play this one. That's surprisingly decent. That is surprisingly decent.
I told you. You didn't want to play these yesterday.
That's just 2 points, just one spot to another? Looks like.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But how does it know how to get there?
That says how to get where? That's a scale parameter. You could give it actual pixel position.
I know, but how does it move around to those? Wait a minute,
oh, so currently we just do a linear trajectory.
There is no language. There's no language to sort of control that right now, Stephen. Like how fast it moves and what curve it follows and things like that.
Yes.
How fast
so it's just going in a straight line.
Yes.
You can specify the speed by controlling the times, but yeah, it's only straight lines at the moment.
So raster size, is that your window kind of preserving aspect ratio, or?
No, the width is specifying the window. How large or small you want to be is controlled by the width, and raster size, we just need one size throughout the whole generated video, and that's that raster size.
So width of the path through the image, or what's the width? It's not pixels.
Width of a bounding box that we grab from around that position.
Okay.
It's the viewport.
Got it. Well, not viewport, because it's the entire linear path that contains all viewports. Right?
No, I understand, but
yeah.
At a given point, the question is, how big is the region of interest, so to speak, in the
image? Exactly. Yeah.
It's sort of a strip that you follow, basically.
This one is, and then the one after it is a fixed position, and you change the size, you change the zooming or that width from 1500 pixels to 200 pixels. If you move outside of that animated image, Stephen, the button goes away.
These are pretty nice. These are surprisingly compelling.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen this myself until now.
Yeah, we put them together, I think, Tuesday with Carlo.
Yeah, that's why.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely key that we produce a lot. You know, we use it a lot, so we kind of know what's essential use cases.
Okay, so I want to try something, which is I want to see how, if I have a graphics grid, how I can visit each one, and then visit, zoom out, visit, zoom out. You get what I'm saying?
I do. A graphics grid is, however, not a graphics, but
it is. Graphics grid is a graphics. By the time that graphics are produced, we don't know anything that it came from a graphics grid.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's an example of something. Okay, so the use case that you have here is livening up photographs, basically.
Well, really zooming into graphics was one of the initial things we thought about. So the use case that you say should be one of the easy things to generate as well.
Well, right, but I mean, it's basically a grid tour.
Yeah,
kind of like a graphics grid tour. If you
Indeed.
wanted it to
Indeed.
make it sort of easy, symbolically specifying that, then one almost needs sort of a special function like graphics.
Well, I
grid.
agree. Graphics grid to a video.
Teo's video is a good model for that. It's got like a Bezier curve.
Exactly. We
zoom, yeah.
no, exactly, Jeremy. We Stephen brought that up. I
Yeah,
brought
yeah.
that up when we started this, actually.
Yep.
A while ago.
So why don't we just use that, basically, use that algorithm and make that a graphics grid to a video?
We could. That would be a nice. I mean, we're looking for more of these. So I think that would be a nice thing for 13.1. We have a
Yes.
whole potential family of these, content generators, basically video generators.
Right. Well, I mean, so another one here is, so these are pixel positions. And this is an image, right? So when you say
Yes.
graphics tour, that's actually an image, right?
Yes, currently we support images and graphics. We were thinking of geographics as the
And
next
meshes as
addition.
well.
Meshes. Oh yes, currently we do support meshes too.
Yeah, geographics, I started playing with it, but I need some expertise from the geographics team because I'm kind of out of my depth there.
Okay, so
What
here,
happened to that tour of Italy, Carlo? I thought we
I
went
I think
around
it's
it.
if you scroll down,
I'm
it's
going to
the
get the
application
tour of
example.
Sapinski Land.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh God, I really wish people wouldn't do this of defining a variable. How many times do we have to say the same thing?
So there it is used twice in that example.
I isn't used. Why is I used twice?
It
If
is.
you scroll
But
down.
don't call it
down.
I, for goodness sake. Call it image or something.
Sure.
Okay.
That's
I'll update my
definitely
PSA.
I have to do a lot of documentation update with that suggestion.
I mean, so related to graphics, are you changing
But-
plot range to scale? So things that had, very small resolution, would those come into focus as you zoom in?
For graphics, yes.
Yeah, okay, good.
We seem to have hung here. I've got a spinning disk.
There is.
How old is your prototype build? I
don't
thought that
know.
was fixed, Carlo.
It should be.
Well, I don't know. I just launched it, so it is. Is
Yeah,
this frozen now?
it looks like it is frozen.
Might be. I've had it last week.
With something like a plot that has a lot of wiggles in it, do you need to do something ahead of time so that
No,
resolution's there?
so if the input is a vector thing,
No,
No,
Jeremy,
no, no, no.
it doesn't know where the graphics came from.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The graphics doesn't know it came from.
you'd have to prepare it with high resolution detail ahead of time, and
For now.
Sorry,
Hopefully plot will remember where it came from eventually.
just think in those cases, you'd have to reevaluate if you really want to zoom in, right?
Yes.
Right,
It
and it's not
really
even clear.
depends, right? If it is just a vector plot, it will just change in the plot and you will do the correct thing. But if it is something like Mandelbrot plot,
Oh yeah, I've got
Yeah.
this one is from yesterday, so maybe it'll work better. This faces one looks very interesting. Let me see how that works, but let's try to see if I can get this one to work.
That looks better.
Wait a minute. Even this one.
Is
No.
this also hanging, you think?
Yeah,
Yeah,
just
that is hung.
well, tough for me to really see much when it's hung. Okay, so what you're saying here in this one, that's pretty cool if you can really do that. So you find faces, find their positions, and then where's the width?
That's
in that
computed
case, it's
automatically.
computed automatically, given the position of the various faces. It's not a
Well, how can it be
particular- not
computed
computed.
automatically? How does it know what the zoom level should be?
Well, it looks at the distance between the various things and makes sure that at those times, the two windows do not overlap. So window at position
see.
1 does not overlap window at position 2. It's not a particularly smart thing. I'm sure that could be improved, but
Right. I mean, it would be good to not just have person's nose or something.
yes.
Well, this is dead again. Very dead. These are both extremely dead. Like, so dead we can't even, they're very, very dead.
Prototype build, yeah, it's been a lot of development in these past few days. I wouldn't blame anyone for those not working. Branches are coming in and going out at a very fast speed.
Well, I'm sold on this function, to my surprise.
The name of it, I agree, we could discuss. If you called it trajectory video, graphics tour video is not as general as it is. So I don't know. If anything,
What
I would
about
spend
tour
some
video?
time.
What about a tour video? Or a scanning video? Or no, a tour. What are the names of some other ones that we've got? We've got snippets video.
Right.
Slideshow video.
The only reason we had called it graphics tour because we think that we need a 3D graphics tour.
Yeah.
Which is going to be quite different in terms of specs. I mean, not super different, but you have to sort of say where you're looking, where you're at, and how you're looking at it.
So the question that I have here is, imagine that you have a giant mathematical expression, for example. You could do the same thing on that.
Kind of, yeah. I think this area of sort of capturing workflows that are interesting, that are useful, I think is wide open for creativity here.
Yeah. Okay, so image to a video, graphics to a video. Graphics 3D. To a video, to a 3D video. What's another word for tour? Scan.
I mean,
it might not be a tour. It might be something where you're going this place and that place.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, maybe that's
sampling video. That's not a very good name either.
Yeah. Sometimes you think of a tour as sort of as a cycle, coming back.
Yeah, I know.
Could be pan
well,
and
it does
zoom,
come
kind
back.
of
It
cinematic.
does.
Like pan and zoom could apply, unless there's more to it.
No, there's more to it because there's also exploration video. Voyage video.
And also it wouldn't hurt for us. I think that it would be useful to keep these experimental for 1 or 2 rounds until we sort of get enough
oh sure, yeah,
confidence in them.
Just related, the Teo, the graphics grid like Teo, that'd be nice as a theme for any sort of number of points, right? If you could just apply the whatever we're calling this Teo theme.
The idea of going out to see the whole before you zoom into the next one.
Yeah, kind of zoom.
I agree with you.
And
I agree with you.
Next,
I think that's yeah. So you see where you're at, then you kind of indicate where you're going, and then you zoom in, as opposed to sort of following it.
So wait a minute. So what we've got here is well, look here. We've got path points. We've got path type. That's a different, the path type would be a Teo, like the Ken Burns, we can have the Teo.
Can you add rotation to that too?
It says
is
it
it
down
always-
here. It says down here, rotation.
I didn't see it. Yeah, okay. Yeah, an interactive interface like the image interface we have, the bar would be nice here. We could just
Actually,
add,
that would be a really nice thing to be able to. We can pick points, right, in that
Yeah.
interface. And so, could one automatically have picked those points and have a video produced?
yeah,
Yes, that's
Wouldn't
the
that
thing.
be really nice?
even better than points, rectangles that you can rotate, right? Move and position rectangles at different sizes and rotations, and it just kind of moves in that order.
Interesting. Yeah, more advanced.
Jeff is suggesting traversal tour,
Mm.
traversal video. It's not terrible. Traversal suggests it's going only one way. Path video. I mean, that kind of assumes that the problem with path video is one could, I mean, is it going to have a continuous path is one question, or is it going to jump, you know, boom, 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 different places?
And I
This-
think all are useful. To what I'm saying. I
Yeah,
think that can be themes, basically. Just what Jeremy pointed out, like zoom out, see the big picture, zoom in again to where you want to go next. Sometimes that's useful.
right. Yeah, and I mean, the typical thing we're doing here is it is in a cycle. I mean, this video is going to be a cyclic kind of thing. So the examples you have here. Okay.
That last one, for instance, with Italy would have been a cyclic one that traverses around the border of Italy.
Oh, wow. Okay. Many, many points.
We resampled that. See that array resample to 50? So we pick 50 of those points, but it could be all of the points.
This is an interesting, very interesting function. I eat my words about this function.
Good.
Great.
I think what we want to make it really easy to do this kind of content generation in the Wolfram language.
mhm.
I think it promotes research, education, and even corporate case. You know, if you're going to make a
Sure. Well, but
compelling
okay,
case.
right. But so, okay, so what are we going to do for this version?
I think
What's
we
it gonna be
introduced
called?
it. Well, if you have a strong opinion on name, we could figure that out.
Well,
Otherwise,
let's figure it out. Let's figure it out. I mean, we've got name and we've got path points, path type seem useful, or path theme. I think we could say have both path type and path theme or something.
I'm not sure we have enough ideas to fill those up for this version.
Well,
though.
we have a couple of path types. We'd say linear, Bezier.
You know, our code freeze is coming up in a few hours.
I know that. That's why, you know, having this review today isn't the optimal thing, but that's what we're doing. Okay. Path type, linear, Bezier, you can handle those. Then, you know, we've got path points. We've got, I think we would say path times.
I think a lot of these are going to be sort of suggestions that roll into 13.1 version of this.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Path rotate. I mean,
Do they all need to have the path prefix, given that if they all have it, is it meaningful anymore?
I don't know.
Yeah, but I think it's useful to know what kind of parameters anyways we want to be able to specify.
And the other thing is, I'm not
Well,
sure
unless
what
we call this graphics path video.
I mean, is it really? I mean, the path is that the main thing, or is it where you stop and actually linger is the main thing? You know?
No, I think it's the fact that there's a path. There's something continuous going on.
Well, do you expect that the path is going to have, 100 points in it, or is it going to be just like 2 points, like go from here to here?
I think it could be either. We
Yep.
got examples with both. I mean, Italy has many points. And we could say graphic sampling video.
I feel like that is the most obscure of the other one of this collection.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Tua suggests that that you're seeing things that are useful, more so
Yes.
than path, which
And also, I think that path sort of focuses too much on the path.
all right, fine. What do you say? A sightseeing? Well, it could be sightseeing video.
Right, but
That's
often they
too
are called.
whimsical.
Often they are called tours, right?
I know. Tour guide,
Yes.
guide
Right.
video. No.
Do the functions, let me see, do the functions like find shortest tour, is that, that's not a cycle, right? Or does find shortest tour find a cycle?
No, find shortest path
Right.
finds a path and tour finds a cycle. But this generically, it's not a terrible thing to have the concept of cycle here, because this thing does by default have a video that cycles. You see what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I don't think that, that's probably the only function we have right now that has tour in its name. It's find shortest tour, right?
Yeah.
But that's a particular. This is a very technical version of tour, the graph one.
All right, listen.
Sure. I think it makes sense though. Yeah.
I'm agreeing that graphics tour video is probably okay. It's probably as evocative as we're going to get. And it allows us to have a graphics 3D tour. It just bothers me that we've got images and things in there as well.
I was thinking dynamic graphics video or something with dynamic, but that's not going to solve the graphics problem in there.
No.
Was there a problem with tour video?
I don't really think so. I think it's a kind of a nice branded name. I think people will get used to that.
I guess the only thing that we'll need to make sure is that the specification, if we add support for 3D stuff, will be different. But
No, it's
that
2
could
or
be something
3D
like
video.
application.
That will be 2 or 3D video. It's
Okay.
going to be different.
Okay, then I don't really have any objection to that.
Tour 2D,
Why say that? I think we just say tour
just
video.
tour video. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Okay, so then, okay, so what we've got is, Marco on our live stream is pointing out that Apple Maps, Google Earth, things like that use tour to mean the same thing, I think. So that's but of course that's more geographic. RBS is talking about why this is called parallax in early video games. Interesting. Okay, so what I mean, for some reason, I really think path points is going to be less obscure than just seeing points here. And hopefully it'll have an autocomplete and things. I think.
One question about that plural. We are planning to support both an association where the values are lists, but also a list of associations. And I'm not sure if the plural there makes sense, right? Because it could be each association is the specification for one point.
Well, then make it a different thing. I mean, why not have
Okay.
Position, position, time. I mean, if it's going to be in a list, I mean, doesn't it want to be different? It's going to be very confusing otherwise.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that can be done.
Okay, so then
how does time work? How do you specify it?
It's the time in seconds, presumably from the beginning of the video.
Correct.
For each point. So that's where the point ends up on that time code.
Yes.
Correct.
And
Right.
what about it like a pause if you want that, if you want it to linger and then move
You
on?
might have to specify that point twice with 2 different
Okay.
times.
Yeah.
Well,
We don't
why don't
have
we
really
say,
a
why don't
language
we
to-
say time, linger time?
Well, it's a weird word for that, but
Why?
delay maybe.
No, I think
Something.
linger is the right term.
Okay.
Isn't that, I mean, I don't know, does it have a name in movie making?
Definitely not linger.
Pause time, I would have said, if I wanted to say anything.
Yeah.
Maybe that's, and we have the concept or use pause in other functions too.
I don't think pause suggests nothing is happening during the pause. Wait time or hold time. What is that? There's a better word for this. Hold. Oh my gosh, what is it? There's a time, there's a thing that means hold on this point and then go on to another one.
Still time, static time.
Duration, would that fit?
Yes, it would. In that particular case, it would fit just fine.
Yeah.
Suspend.
Okay, so
I just wanted to point out that we only have 17 minutes left until you have a hard stop, and we do have Christopher and Charles here for the next discussion.
right. Well, okay.
Stephen,
Okay,
these are,
just
I think,
hold
good
on,
discussions.
hold on. This for this we could say point durations or something. Look, get whatever you can in here. Is it going to be
Exactly.
packed updatable?
No.
No.
That's a pity.
Is there thought to make this work with animation or video?
You
To
mean with the
operate on a-
background image being a video
Yeah,
to a video?
Yeah, so the way you do it in a movie, like a wide shot that you could zoom in on and pan across.
By the
I
way, you
think we
just
could do
convinced
the
me that
same.
you just
Yes.
convinced me that we should make the name graphics to a video because it's otherwise it's a video to a video. If you understand what I'm saying.
But I mean, that could work in the same function, right?
I think so. Video in, video out, and we still do the same
But
path over time.
the path specification might be.
No,
I
actually,
think
it'll
you're
work
right.
fine. It'll work
Yeah.
fine. It'll work fine. It just is at different locations in the video.
I think that's
I don't
that's
think I
another
will
argument.
have that working for 13, but that
No.
doesn't seem insane.
And I think that's another argument though to call it tour video, because otherwise you're going to have video tour video.
Exactly.
What? Sorry, to call it to a video.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's a good
Yes.
name.
Yes.
All right, fine. Okay, this is wonderful. Did people who came late, did you actually see these videos? Surprisingly compelling.
Yeah, that's nice.
And that's just specified with 2 points. By the way, in this case here, it will be path times and it would say something about widths. What will be the right name for the width? Point durations.
I guess
point
zoom
distance.
level was something that we had at the beginning.
I think width is better, but I think you might also want to specify zoom level. Yeah, I mean, zoom levels, that's one way to specify it, and the other way would be it's not viewport. What's the right term? What's the image processing term for a region?
As a bounding box, you're saying?
Yes, look.
Because that's yet
Path-
another way
path
that people
centers, right,
specify
so
that.
this would be path points, path regions, basically, and that will be a bounding box.
Mm-hmm.
Path bounding boxes.
Regions is fine.
Well, we got so many other things that are regions. Zoom levels, bounding boxes.
you have to maintain an aspect ratio. I worry that is easy to mess up, right? If it's open.
Yep. There is a resize operation at the end that will do something more or less sensible to fix mistakes.
Okay.
But it will probably not look great if you.
Well, okay, so then let's call it something widths. But what kind of widths? What is it?
View width, maybe.
Well, then this should be called viewpoints.
Do we use that for graphics 3D camera?
We
Yes.
do.
Yeah, that might be confusing.
That's a very special camera. The one we use the most, but it's still very special.
Well, what do you think it should be called then?
Oh, it's
Path
okay.
points?
I think a viewpoint is not too, I mean, it's just different. If we go with lots of views, view times view widths.
But you have path type.
That's
I
okay.
think it goes with path points.
All right. Well, maybe it's path points. Maybe you can support both of them for now. All right. We are really running out of time here, so we better move on. This is wonderful. I'm sorry I attacked it earlier. Good work.
Great feedback. Thank you.
Okay. And you can get that file. Okay. Can we move on to the next item? Where is the next item?
In your calendar, and it should be updated. It's a single function.
How
Can
nice.
Carlo and I be excused?
Yep. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Go implement.
Bye.
Thanks.
Okay.
Bye.
Do you need me for this, Stephen?
I don't know what it is. Let me just find out. What
Find
it is.
region transform, no.
Okay,
No.
great. All right, bye.
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 Okay. We got penguins.
That's what you were trying to do, I think.
Yes. Whatever. Okay, so the issue is we've got this notion of geometric transform, find geometric transform, and we've got this idea of find region transform, which is similar but different, and some kind of inverse and some kind of different return structure and so on, right?
So if you read slowly through there, and Charles can talk to it, we can talk through every piece of in what, how they're similar, how they're different.
Are you, Roger, are you at this point convinced that this design is correct?
I am. We absolutely need it for.
Okay, but that's different from saying the design is correct. You're saying that the fact that it's needed doesn't mean that these names are right and so on.
Fine, fine.
How sure are you that the names are right? Somewhat. Okay.
Somewhat.
All right.
Yeah.
Finds the affine transform that maps two regions.
Maps from one region to another. If they're related by an affine transform, this one finds it.
Why do we call it affine transform?
No, we want to expand it in the future. Right now, today, the two things, when things are congruent, that's a special affine transform. When things are similar, that's another.
Okay. How findy is this, and how much is it deterministic?
It is deterministic. It
Because
is
if there be
deterministic.
multiple things. I mean, if you give it a
Yeah, if
two
things are very
rectangles.
symmetric, if things are.
I mean, the transform is not unique, right?
No.
I mean, you can always,
No, if
it's
object,
deterministic.
like two disks, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, you can rotate a disk a lot, and it looks exactly the same.
Fancy that. Yeah.
Right? You know, so there's an awful lot of transforms that transform a disk to another disk. So, but it's not findy in the sense of
local optimization.
Right. It's not
Okay, so
finding.
listen, if we had a word like, oh gosh, what is the right word for it? What is it describing? Is it describing?
It literally finds the mapping or the transform between two regions.
So essentially find transformation function. It find that transformation function if it exists.
Yes.
And sorry, I think this was talked about last time, but does it only work if there is basically an exact transform?
Yes, it doesn't do a fitting.
But it has no tolerance option. It never will have, or could it have a tolerance option?
Will not, shouldn't. Because really, when you say tolerance option, actually, is you want to actually do a fitting, which is what actually geometric transform is doing. So you know, an approximate result based on some best fitting you have to define. And geometric transform roughly using ransack plus, least square fitting plus other different methods.
Well, maybe a future thing would be that find geometric transform could work on regions if it doesn't already. But yeah.
Actually, they did try for polygon, but then you start to see that there are issues in the design because you don't really get exactly what you want. Because for polygon, find geometric transform, for example, doesn't take care of, it's care about ordering of point, right? So if you deal with polygons, right, you can flip the point clockwise or counterclockwise, and then you get different results.
Right, well, that's presumably kind of an implementation thing, right? Like, if you give it a list of points, you want it to respect the ordering, but if you give it, for example, a primitive point of blah, 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 then I would expect it to not care about the ordering and would probably need a different implementation. But yeah, although I admit that is a bit of a fine distinction.
Okay, so hold on. Are you saying find geometric transform should work on regions? You are
clearly not for 13. But
no, I understand.
No.
Actually, already in the system, if you look at the documentation, they actually have example on polygon. Right? So they have been trying to extend it on region.
Right. Like, okay, I think it works on like old school graphics primitives.
So wait a minute. So do both of these functions return a transformation function?
But there's also, this question, which direction should a transformation go? For images, it's natural that it goes backwards because the way that the transformations are documented for images are backwards compared to anything else in the system.
It seems like the fundamental problem is that find geometric transform should have image in its name, and there should be a different function that handles it for other stuff.
Yep, it should be kind of an image fit or find image transform.
The analog, if this is find region transform, that should be sort of find image transform.
Or maybe we should change its name and gradually deprecate find geometric transform.
Right.
I thought about that, but the only problem is that like we just discussed here, find geometric transform provide that fitting functionality. Some user may be used to, right? And find image transform doesn't really, fit in that category, if you see what I mean.
Well, it's really finding a geometric fit. It's finding.
Yes.
Right. You could imagine making, if that were phased out, you could have a function that's like an image, has the word image and maybe the word fit in its name. And then also another one that has, graphics or region and fit in its name.
Right.
Okay, so what would be the names we would like to have if we didn't have the existing names? What would be the names we would like?
I think there's a proposal at the bottom there. I don't remember, but
stop.
At least that.
Possible names for what?
I think
that's a good name. Transformation function fit.
Fit transformation function. Yeah, I guess fit usually goes at the end.
Or fitted transformation function.
Yeah, that's a possibility. And I think the return should not contain the goodness of fit as its first level thing. I think that's a separate. I think in most applications you just want the best fit you can get, and then you go on from there.
I think if we would have designed that function today, that would have been a property that we could ask for.
Yeah.
And we could probably get like a whole slew of other properties, in fact.
So
mean,
I
for
think
stuff like linear
transformation function fit.
Sorry?
Transformation.
I was just going to
function-
ask. I mean,
go
for
ahead.
functions like the linear solve and stuff like that, I think that we do it that way where it's a property. But what about for like find fit? Don't all the like optimization functions usually return the error as the first thing in a list?
No, find fit does not.
No, the
Oh, okay.
the old, more sort of physicsy oriented things like fit and find fit, they do none of extra stuff. You get no statistics. You know nothing about the quality of fit.
Right.
They just get the fit. The
Which is what this should do as well.
statistics one gives you a whole potential, slew of measures of the quality of fit, and so does the machine learning ones. That gives you a whole slew of measures, basically.
So geometric, I mean, I think it's useful to say, is transformation function the right thing? It's a rigid transformation, isn't it?
No, not necessarily rigid.
No,
Can it depend on position?
What do you mean?
So
what do you mean?
Well, can this function, the thing is making a rigid transform. It's twisting, it's shearing, it's doing whatever else. That's a global geometrical operation. It's not something which has a field where it depends on, where the nose of, I mean, this is morphometric transformations, right? The nose of the fish can move further than its tail and so on. You get what I'm saying? That's
Well,
a different thing.
Yeah, like linear transformation, perspective transformation, for example. Put that way.
Well, it's more than perspective. It's a field. In general, there's a vector field that determines how much the thing moves.
I mean,
Whereas
it is transformation functions. I think transformation functions just represent like affine transforms, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
up to linear fractional.
So,
Linear fractional.
So linear,
oh,
right. So
affine,
it's a
linear
very
fractional.
rigid. It's a rigid transformation.
No, it's not rigid.
Well,
Absolutely
okay,
not
okay.
rigid.
It's got
you
shears and
can
things in it.
skew and you can
Yes.
scale, so
Yes.
it's not rigid.
Yes, very much not rigid. But it's
Well-
rigid in the sort of in a non-technical sense.
Right. It's global.
Yeah.
That it is.
Oh yeah,
Not local.
absolutely, yes.
And that should be, that should be clarified in documentation. Okay, so look. Geometric transform fit. Okay, what will we like to call these? Let's say the old one is geometric transform fit and no longer returns the error bound. And then the new one is what?
Propose find region transform and find image transform.
What's find image transform?
It would be essentially find the metric transform now, but the documentation input will be on images.
It's also nice because it would go with image transformation, right?
Because they return the backward one,
Exactly.
the inverse one, the inverse.
The inverse transform.
So wait a minute, find image transform and find region transform. That's what
Yes.
you're proposing.
Yes.
And right now, and then we rename find, but we don't have to do that for this version yet. We rename find geometric transform to geometric transform fit. And remove its first argument.
I don't think
by
that's
default.
what Charles proposed.
What is Charles proposing?
I think that the find image transform would be what's now find geometric
No
transform.
way. It's not on
Oh, no.
images. It's on
But
lists of points.
No,
No
yes,
way.
but we just adjust a little bit the documentation. I mean, yes, like you say, it's on images. So essentially, geometric transform fit and find image transform will share both of the functionality. The only thing is that find image transform will give the inverse transform, where geometric transform will essentially work on
Wait. What's geometric transform? I'm sorry. How many functions do we have here? 2 or 3? How many functions are you proposing?
I'm proposing 3.
Okay, what are they? What
So
are the
fi-
functions you're proposing?
So
Yes, go
first, find region transform, where essentially it take a region 1 to the region 2.
Hmm.
And it finds the transform from region 1 to region
And it
2.
returns a transformation function.
Yes,
Yes.
And this is an exact transformation. It's not a fit.
exactly. And geometric transform fit does the fitting from region 1 to region 2.
Okay. It also returns a transformation function. Is that correct?
Yes.
So why is that one called geometric?
Yeah, why is it
transform? The
called
other one's
geometric?
region.
Yeah, why not region? Why geometric? We don't call anything geometric.
Actually, for me, it was in geometric transformation function. Or I mean, yes, we can change the
Wait
name.
a second. So this is taking regions, or this is taking lists of points?
By default, it's taking list of points, but we can extend it to region. So
Okay.
and then we
Okay.
have
No, wait. This is not going to work. So find region transform. Okay. Again. Let's see.
So the distinction is just whether it's exact or whether it's a fit.
Yeah, I mean, I think the find thing is more like solve, whereas fit is more like minimize.
Well, why isn't this region transform fit? But except it isn't regions. And does this one do points as well?
yes.
Well, in the sense, yes.
In a different way. I mean, because so the difficulty is what find geometric transform does with points is kind of weird, right? Where it cares with the ordering. So I don't know if you'd want to, if we want to preserve that functionality into region transform fit.
No, would not.
I mean,
that
do we
makes
have
no
another
sense
function
for regions.
Okay, right. So do we have another function that basically does that behavior where you give it an ordered list of points, 2 ordered list of points, and it tries to find the transformation?
No. That's
No, like least squares fit or something like that.
yes, but I don't think it works the same way.
No, for all the fitting functions, the order in which you give data doesn't matter. It's a sum, and sums are, plus is commutative.
How about that? Find transformation function, then find these transforms. Is that crazy?
All the things that generate transformation functions end with transform so far. Like rotation transform gives a transformation function.
Also, I mean, are you talking about merging all of these into this one big function?
No,
because
no,
all
I'm
of
not.
these
I'm talking about geometric. I'm talking about purely find geometric transform becomes that function.
Well, then definitely not, because all of these functions return transformation functions.
Okay.
Right. So.
Oh crap! I'm gonna have to go. I'm late for a doctor's.
Okay. Well, then we got to cover this at a different time. So it'll have to be later today.
Bye.
Okay.
Okay. So this we'll have to come back to this.
All right.
Because I also have to go. It's got to be. I've got stuff all afternoon, and you got to pick a time because we're trying to do this code freeze. And if you guys, well, let's talk about this for 2 more minutes here. Okay. So the claim is they all have to end in transform. We need to rename this function because we need to change its return structure because we don't want that.
Well, it's not just its return structure, it's also its argument structure. I mean, that basically this function really, it works for images and it works for some geometric things, but it has weird behavior on the geometric things, and it returns a reverse transform because that's what you're supposed to do with images.
Well, but we agree we'll have find image transform anyway.
Right. Okay, so we're only talking about the geometric parts of that function. And also it would return presumably a forward transform.
Both of these go the same way around. The image and the region one go the same way around or opposite ways around?
Opposite.
Opposite.
So we can sort of talk about them as source and destination. Is that right? Is that the way? Is that what we're talking about here?
Yes.
Well, I think it would be the opposite of the way you've written it.
Right. Yes.
Oh boy. Maybe you guys can continue talking about this for a few minutes. I have to go. Where are we saving this?
I actually don't know.
This is geometry.
Okay.
We are in the process of making a mistake here. This is ridiculously confusing, that those arguments are in opposite orders.
I think that's kind of the fault of the way that image transformation functions work right now.
I think this needs a more serious review. Maybe you guys can continue talking about it for a few minutes. Anybody else want to share their screen, or Brady, maybe you could pick this up?
Sure.
Or alternatively, okay. Or alternatively, I unfortunately have to go. So, okay.
That's fine.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.